All right. What up, everybody? Friends and fam. Just getting off the holiday. It is. Are you breaking stuff already, Ari? It was a couple seconds in.
I just dropped a water bottle.
All right. Well, Free China Post episode 12. Welcome, everybody. This is kind of impromptu because tomorrow I'm going to Alisan to go hike a mountain for 2 days. Ari just got back from Crazy Friday.
Crazy Friday.
Hey, can you explain Crazy Friday for everyone who's listening?
Crazy Friday is, this is the second event. It's a couple of basically DJ events that have been put on by this independent candidate who's not affiliated with any political party, who's running for the mayor of Tainan.
Which is a city in southern Taiwan.
Yeah, in case anybody actually doesn't know what Tainan is, jeez.
Yeah, losers.
He's a character. I recorded lots of video of him going wild.
We'll probably put some of that up on the Facebook /website / who knows, because like we were talking off air before we did this, and we had problems, one with our Skype, and we also had problems with our basically tons of stuff. We were talking before the podcast that we like our Facebook basically. It's because of the Facebook algorithm. It's basically it screws you over, and they make it so you get like as little likes as possible, and then every once in a while they'll throw you likes. And I don't anyone who has
because of right.
What's
Jordan?
that?
Mark Zuckerberg and George Soros.
That's absolutely true. At least the first part of that. Yeah, George Soros is the puppet master, as we all know. We've talked about that before. He's the Jewish influence that controls all the media, because that's how it works.
Well, no, that's Mark Zuckerberg. George Soros is actually a Nazi.
Oh, that's right. He defended the Nazis even though he didn't, but he did, because that's what Alex Jones says, and everyone knows what Alex Jones says is this Bible, baby. That's law. Facts. Hard facts. But yeah, Facebook basically screws us over, so that's why we need people to like and share and comment and stuff, because then it helps us with the algorithm. But our like I said, our Instagram is doing pretty well. It's owned by the same company that runs Facebook, so it's kind of messed up. But Instagram, we get
owned by Facebook.
So we have 13 Instagram followers, and like every Instagram post I post, we get like 16 to 18 likes. Really showing the back door here, because we have like no followers.
Hashtags, man.
Yeah, I blast hashtags because I'm trying to get people to listen to our stuff, man. I think
hashtags are very effective.
Give us a shot. We're doing our best. But whatever, it is what it is. We're having fun with it, and that's the main thing. Even if we podcast for 20 years and we only have 40 followers, I don't like that, but it is what it is, and I still enjoy it enough to edit these podcasts for 2 hours at a time.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
I love it, man. Do you not love it?
I love life. I love Crazy Friday.
Crazy Friday, baby. The only thing I don't like is listening to my own voice, but it's one of the things you have to go through when you edit your own podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all right. Hey, so do you listen to the episode with my dad?
Yeah, I told you I did.
I know you were listening to it, but I didn't hear if you listened to the whole thing.
Well, I listened to it.
I thought it was a pretty decent one. We had some good discussion. It was at least good dialogue. I might have my sister on soon, and also my mom, but it's hard. My sister said she's kind of out of the loop with politics, so it's gonna be a little bit interesting with the whole political thing. And my mom is like,
oh man, there's gonna be so much to talk to. The Taiwan election is tomorrow. Shit's popping off.
Yeah, but that's gonna be us. That's not gonna be. I mean, my sister said she doesn't even know what she's gonna talk about with American politics, let alone talking about Taiwanese politics. That's a you and I discussion. But I'm saying, like, if I do with the old fam, who knows what we're gonna talk about? Because my sister's pretty political, one of them that I might do podcasts with, but my mom, I might do a podcast with her too, and it's probably going to be similar to my dad. Like, it's going to be not all political, because they like to talk about God stuff. Ew, I'm just kidding, but they're less. They're getting into politics definitely more than they were, and probably thinking about it more. But they I don't know. They're less politically minded than I guess. When are you gonna?
Bad.
Yeah. When are you gonna interview your dad?
I wasn't planning to, but I guess I could.
I'm just kidding. You can do whatever you want. I'm just gonna, man. Anyone that wants to come on the pod, anyone that's listening, if you want to come on the pod, I'll interview you. I don't care. We'll have fun. We'll just talk.
Will.
It's an excuse for me to talk. Yeah, man. I'd interview Will. I'm interested to see where he's at right now. I haven't talked to him in so long. I'm so bad. That's the thing is, man, I'm so bad about keeping in contact with people. Like I listened to one of my buddies who I used to skate with and was like one of my really good friends in high school. He was on another podcast recently. He's like a comedian in Kansas City now. And I like listened to a podcast and I was like, man, I miss this guy. But I don't know. It would be interesting to have him on the pod and just like interview these types of people. But stuff, man, stuff to like get, especially when these people live halfway across the globe. Like it took me basically like almost a month to get my dad on the pod.
All right, let's talk news, man.
All right, man, what's happening? What do you want to talk about?
Oh, so much stuff.
Lock her up.
Yeah, okay, so we could talk Hillary Clinton. So Hillary Clinton.
No, I'm not talking Hillary Clinton. I'm talking Trump's daughter, bruh.
Trump's daughter is already locked up in Trump's basement. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
but you should put her in a real jail because she's using a private email server.
I think Jared Kushner's jail is bad enough.
All right, fair enough. All right, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Hillary Clinton trying to put her hat back in the ring, even though she got smashed by the worst politician that we've ever seen in U.S. history?
We can talk about anything. I have basically a stack of interesting news.
All right, you started out, man.
Okay, well, since you mentioned Hillary Clinton says that the European countries basically need to start curbing immigration if they want to start curbing right-wing extremism. So comment.
Ooh, that's rough. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's that simple. I think that's like an oversimplification of the situation. I would think what you need to do. Yeah, I mean that's one option. I mean you could totally create like an ethno state, that's what that.
No, I don't think that's what she's saying. I think what she's saying is that the immigration is okay in the European Union, especially in Southern Europe, man. When you say immigration, I mean you're pairing in refugee claims. You're pairing in like people from Northern Africa who go and settle there. It's pretty extreme, basically. I mean,
well, I think just like the U.S., you have obviously it depends on what European nation you're talking about, but I think you implement like a more strenuous vetting system. That's the thing that I get angry about in the U.S. is we let in so few refugees, and then these people still complain. We still have a lot of like right-wing terrorism in the U.S. So is that gonna, if we totally cut out immigration or refugee status for these people, it wouldn't really matter. There's still brown people in the country, whether they're refugees or not. Like these people that are racist and right wingers, like far right wingers, they don't care if the person is like what. They don't really care. There's just a brown person, so I'm going to attack them. Like look at the attacks that have happened on like Sikh people, and they just go, oh, this person looks like a Muslim and they wear a turban, so I'm going to attack them.
but I would say extremists represent the minority of the country. So the majority of people, especially like you look at France, for instance. France had Marine Le Pen? Yeah, Marine Le Pen, right wing candidate. She won like 26% of the vote, man. I don't think 26% of the vote, 26% of like the 50, 60 million population of France is okay with like ethnic violence, basically. But you have these concerns about, just like in America, this idea of the dissolution of your culture, basically. It's no longer France. France was a nation state, driven by the Franks, and then suddenly they see all these people coming that don't look like them and have different culture, post colonization and shit.
Where are you trying to create? Are you trying to create an ethno state? Is that your goal? Because if that
I'm not trying to do it.
I know it's not you specifically.
To...
I'm using the royal you. So if you're trying to create an ethno state, then yeah, that's fine. And then you need to curb that other stuff. But
there's a huge barrier. I mean, listen, it's not a fine line, man. There's a large spectrum between creating an ethno state and having like 30, 40, 50% minority population to where it basically dilutes, in their idea, okay, I'm using their idea and their words, dilutes the Frenchness of the state, for instance.
Then
If-
if that's
it's
what they
one thing
think they
having a-
but that's basic. That's an ethno state. It's still an ethno state. You can say
not an
that.
ethno state.
Yeah, it is. It is. What's the
America's
difference?
not an ethno state.
America is
America-
totally
okay.
not an ethno state. Of course, America is not an ethno state.
But
But
America
that's the
is
thing
still
because
majority
America is a
white.
very. It's like it's slightly over 50% white.
It's over 60%. No.
So even over 60%, it's still a huge melting pot, and the definition of white is like very fluid. Like, you know, you look back 50, 60 years ago, the definition of white is not the same. Like Jews and Irish people, and even still, like
Okay, the United States
in
is
some-
75% white, for the record.
that's pretty heavily white.
It's pretty heavily white.
Even
But
still,
America
like
is also
but
an immigration country, and France is not an immigration country. France was essentially founded as a nation state. It's a state for the Franks. You know, this historical.
that is an
whatever.
ethno state. That's what I'm saying. Is that's an ethno state. That's an
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well,
if you want to remain.
Well, no, because it's made up of different people. I mean, you've got the.
You got
whatever.
you got the Franco white people, and you have the Saxon white people, and it's white people, man. That's the ethno state, and that's fine. Like, if you want it to be that way, it's not really fine. But if you want to be a white only country and you want to be if you want to be a single culture, then that's fine. But you have to admit that, and you have to say this is what we want to do.
Why is that not fine?
It's fine in the fact that if you all want to admit that, but in my opinion, it's not fine because we're an entire world. We should accept new
I know what
cultures.
you're saying,
And
but-
if you look at the U.S., when we've accepted new cultures and people from different countries, they've done great things. They work harder than everyone. They commit less crime than everyone else. So
You and I are American, man. We come from a country whose basically values are based around immigration. That's like 2% of the world. Majority of the country is ethno states.
but these European nations take in way more refugees than the U.S. and that's
They take in refugees and then they try and deport them as soon as they fucking can. And they're all, the notion of them taking in refugees is that they're all temporary. They're not taking in refugees in the notion that they're going to stay there for 70 years. They're waiting for the Civil War to end so they can deport them back.
That's fair, but if they were smart, they would know that the U.S. is never going to end these sorts of wars. We're going to keep them going forever because it's in our best
Well, the
interest.
U.S. has nothing. Okay, most of these refugees right now are from Syria, and the U.S. has absolutely no stake in Syria.
Well, we do a lot of things in Syria, and we also give a lot of weapons to Saudi Arabia to say that we don't have any
We
stake in
do
that
a
war.
lot of things in Syria. We have no troops on the ground, unlike Russia, unlike Saudi Arabia, unlike Jordan, unlike
But
Iran.
Saudi Arabia is one of our biggest allies. We give them a shitload of weapons, and that's why Trump is not fighting against the whole Khashoggi thing right now. Is because he said, "Well, they're going to buy our weapons to kill fucking innocent civilians in Saudi Arabia."
That's and Trump is an idiot. That's besides the point. But the point is, the United States has nothing to do with the Syrian civil war. You can
Okay.
blame a lot of countries for that civil war going on.
Fair enough.
Okay, so without too far diverging from the point, these countries, they take in a lot of refugees per capita. They take in like a large proportion of refugees relative to their native population, and it's causing ethnic strife in most of these countries, honestly. And Hillary Clinton said that if they don't want right-wing extremism, then they're going to have to curb it. So you disagree?
What? Yeah. Why are you kowtowing to right wing extremism? You should heavily punish and monitor right wing extremism, and then you should.
Well, that's not kowtowing. No. I'm not. We're not talking about illegal right-wing extremism. We're talking about right-wing parties. We're talking about like the Donald Trumps of Europe. They're not doing anything illegal.
Then you need to. Then the left wing should be messaging better. The left wing should be messaging and saying these people are not destroying our culture. What? So why is she saying that? What is her basis for saying that? I don't even know what kind of argument she has for that.
Basically, the proportion right-wing parties have won in most European countries in the last, let's say, 3 to 5 years.
That's a
has
pretty
gone up
broad
dramatically.
statement to say, like, right-wing parties have won in European nations. Well, European nations span, like, a huge swath of the globe.
Okay, I'll give you some examples. France is... Anyway, okay, Marine Le Pen's party, I forget the name. Their vote proportion has gone up maybe 10 to 15% in, like, a handful of years. And they're an extreme right, anti-immigrant, ultra-nationalist party. Austria has gone up significantly. Netherlands have gone up significantly. Sweden has gone up significantly. Like, it's across different swaths of Europe. Italy has gone up significantly.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Italy is like their economy is not doing great. So when you have sorts of like these dips in economy, that's not necessarily great for it. But I mean, I see what you're saying. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I would like to see how the far left wing parties are doing. How are socialist parties doing? And also these people have not these people, these countries have much more diverse party systems in the U.S. And Hillary Clinton is coming out saying this because what I would assume is she's saying this because Donald Trump won. But technically she won. But even if she didn't win, because she's like basically a ho-hum candidate that pandered to the middle and is basically a blue dog Democrat.
I'm not commenting about Hillary Clinton's U.S. campaign.
But I think the reason that she's coming out and saying these things is because she lost. That's my 2 cents in the whole argument.
I know what you're saying, but I think she does have a point, and I think that Europe is basically undergoing an internal culture war, basically, where they, like you said, they have to decide how much they're going to be ethno-states. It's a real thing, man. These countries are all ethno-states. They're all countries that are based upon like a single history, a single language, a single ethnicity, and now they have like. You have countries like Germany and France who basically are slowly and surely becoming, 20-30% migrant. And go ahead.
I was just gonna say, welcome to the fucking world, man. If you wanna be part of the global economy, you wanna be part of like the world and make money off these other countries, then fucking welcome to it, man. You gotta fucking take in other people, and if you don't want to, then fucking be an isolationist.
These aren't immigration states, though. That's the thing. The United States, Canada, these are countries that have like traditionally welcomed immigration. They're culturally ingrained with welcoming immigrants.
But that's my thing is if you don't want to be part of, if you don't want to have any immigration, then don't have a part in how you affect the world. Affect yourself. You can do trade.
That's a joke. That's fine. That's a joke. Okay,
no,
look at the biggest country.
That's the thing is then you're not taking any sort of responsibility for the things that you're doing.
Okay.
If you're gonna affect other countries, then you're not taking any responsibility for it. If you're gonna be involved in wars in the Middle East and you're not gonna take in refugees, then you're just being an asshole. And I agree with you. Go ahead, make your point about China. No, China fucking sucks, man. Fuck China.
Yeah, but you're applying a double standard. Yeah, you can say bad things about China, but why is China allowed to get away with it?
They shouldn't be allowed to get away with it. They shouldn't be allowed to get away with it. That's my thing. Don't let any of these countries get away with it. You want to be an ethno-state, then be an isolationist ethno-state. And you should, if you want to trade and other countries want to trade with you, then that's their prerogative. But if they don't want to trade with you, then that's your fucking problem because you're an isolationist.
I don't agree with you. I think that international trade has absolutely nothing to do with taking in refugees. Refugees is a national responsibility.
But then figure out what you want to do with the foreign wars. Like a lot of these countries are involved in foreign wars, like France and England. They're backing the U.S. in their foreign wars, and the U.S. hasn't done their part.
They backed the U.S. in the Iraq War. That has very little to do with the Syrian Civil War, which they've played no part.
So then I guess they don't have to accept the refugees, but I feel like that they're doing.
Well, they do. Everyone who signed up for the refugee agreement in 1951 and then 1967, I mean, they're obligated. They're under international law, which is not binding. They're technically obligated to accept refugees.
Well, what I would say is the U.S. needs to do more of their part. The U.S. is dropping their thing on the refugee part, because we, even with the quote unquote caravan thing, we're talking about how we're not going to take these people, and like how we sent troops to the border, which was a whole crock of shit in of itself.
Okay, whatever Trump says, he's an idiot, and the basically federal judges have overturned everything he said. The United States still takes basically every single person, not every single, the majority of people who go to the border and file refugee status claims get processed and get a refugee hearing, as they should under international law, regardless of whatever idiotic shit Trump says.
Yeah,
that the people from Central America make up a decent proportion of our refugee population, actually.
Yeah, we still take significantly less refugees than a lot of other, especially European countries.
It's different. The European countries also, I mean, it's completely different because a lot of these refugee claims, those people are going directly to these countries. Like they go from Syria, they funnel through Turkey, and then they go like land in Germany and then file refugee status or something like that. Basically, once you file refugee status in the country basically has to take you. That's not the same thing as the United States.
What they have to do is they have to like view the refugee status and see if it's like legitimate or not.
Yeah, but the refugees basically under the law can basically choose the country where they get refugee status. Wherever they make the claim, the country has to.
My thing was why I guess actually that's never mind. I was gonna say why wouldn't they choose the U.S., but actually that's kind of self-explanatory because of
They can't
the
get
president
there.
that we have right now. Well, if they can choose any country, then they could choose the U.S.
If they could get there first, but you can't just get on a flight to the United States without a visa.
So, but what you just said was they can kind of choose the country that they want to go to.
Yeah, but because one of the stipulations of the refugee agreement is that it doesn't matter how you enter the country before you file for status. So a lot of people actually enter illegally. That's why Trump's saying that he wasn't going to he was going to deny people's claims who didn't enter the United States legally.
Yeah, through a legal port of entry, yeah.
Yeah, according to the refugee agreement, we have to take anyone, regardless of how they entered. So that's the thing with Europe. They enter through Bulgaria or somewhere with loose borders. They make their way to wherever the fuck they want, and then they apply for refugee status there, and then they get status there. It's another thing to try and get on a plane with no visa to the United States. That's a whole other thing.
That's
It's
fair.
one thing if you're going to the border from Central America.
Well, I mean, it's thousands of miles. Like these people that are in this quote unquote caravan are like walking thousands and thousands of miles. So I would say that like if they're willing to work that hard, I would let them into the U.S. and say, man, you want to work your ass off like this. If you're gonna walk that far with a baby in your arms, like yeah, let's go, man. Come work in our economy because you're working a lot. You're working hard, man.
How about the people? Okay, how about like African people who don't have the opportunity to walk like 600 miles? Why should we give precedent to an economic refugee from Ghana when we could give refugee status to like a Congolese civil war survivor who can't walk across the ocean? Why do Guatemalans get priority?
I think that we should try to accept as many refugees as we can support, and I think we can support a lot more than we are letting in.
So how do you pick, man? Because we can only accept so many refugees. I mean, you can't.
But we accept Dick as refugees. Like arguing that point is like not really valid because like we don't accept almost any refugees. Like we don't let that many people into the country.
You're talking about Syrian refugees, of which the United States.
I'm talking about refugees in general. Like we don't let that many people into the country.
The refugees, basically, okay, anyone who files for a refugee claim, this has absolutely 0% to do with the Trump administration, with presidential policy. Anyone who files a refugee claim at the U.S. border goes through a court, an immigration court, and a judge decides whether they get refugee status. The rates are different depending on the court, but they range significantly. Some of the courts are as low as 30-40%, but some of them have acceptance rates as high as 97%. So I don't know why you say that we don't accept any refugees.
I'm just saying the number. I'm saying the number that we accept.
Well, what are the numbers? What are the numbers?
I mean, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. I could look them up.
So why are you saying it's nothing if you don't know the numbers?
No. I'm just saying we don't accept that many people, and in comparison to like other refugee in terms of other nations.
You're still talking about the Syrian refugees acceptance. The United States, under law, has to give an immigration trial to every single person. They don't have a choice. They're not like, 50,000, the quota's up. Every single person who comes up, they have to accept their refugee claim and let them have a trial. That's international law. What you're talking about is the people who they're voluntarily accepting from that have already applied for refugee status in Europe, basically. They're taking Europeans.
Okay, so you can look at 2017, our number of refugees that we accepted, because that your point is well taken. Like, it's based on judges, but the judges in the U.S. are often very conservative, so they don't necessarily have to accept that.
It's a mix, man. They've got so many different.
You want the number, like the number of refugees in the U.S. decreased more than any other nation in 2017.
Yeah, but that's probably also a function of the Syrian civil war.
Okay, but it's still to my point. Like we don't accept a lot of refugees into the U.S. Like the U.S. doesn't accept a lot of refugees. Like looking at the number, like it's gone down for many countries, but like the U.S. is like very stark, in the amount of resettled refugees. It's clear that we like are doing less and less to carry our burden. And in addition to that, the U.S. has a huge part to play because we fund so many of these wars. We pay for the weapons of so many of these countries that are killing innocent civilians and creating these refugee crises.
Most of our refugees come from Central America, where we don't have.
That's
any
fair.
conflict.
To say we don't have any part to play in Central America is like laughable. We do. We've played a
What I
huge.
said is we don't have any active conflict.
Okay, but you can. These are all like loose terms. Like you can say we don't technically have like you've said before. Like we don't have any active wars in the Middle East, right? Or maybe we have Iraq and Afghanistan.
Well, war and okay, yeah. If you want to talk about Yemen, yeah, we have active conflicts in the Middle East. We don't have nearly anything going on. Not nearly, as far as I know, we don't have any troops doing anything in Central America. This is all problems that are. Not to say that they're not indirectly caused by us, but they're not directly caused by the United States.
I would tend to disagree, but that's fine. I don't know.
Well, explain.
Well, so like we've definitely played a role, and some of this is long standing. Like some of these are 30, 40 years old, but we've destabilized a number of countries in Central and Southern America.
Most of these countries where people are applying for refugee status, it has nothing to do with the government at all. It has to do with basically drug cartels.
But that's a direct relation of the government, and it's a huge call on our war on drugs. If the U.S. didn't have a war on drugs, then these countries wouldn't have any financial incentive to create drugs. See what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but every single country in the world has a world war on drugs. So,
well, less and less, and I think that it would be like the U.S. has such a huge drug economy that if we destroyed the war on drugs, we would have such a minute impact on these sorts of wars that there would be a lot less of an impact that we had.
I tend to agree with you, but it's hard to speculate because what we're doing is kind of just speculating.
Yeah, but I okay. For instance, like look at the quote unquote like migrant caravan that's coming on right now. Like where are most of those people coming from? They're coming from Guatemala. And like we greatly helped to overthrow the democratically elected government in that country.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what that has to do with right now because we've accepted Guatemalan refugees for like 20 years, 30 years. Not to mention, I agree. We interfered with Latin American countries' civil wars, but that's not to say that we were responsible for their civil wars.
So what are you saying? What are you saying about Guatemala? What are your thoughts on the whole Guatemala? You're saying we didn't have a big role to play in the coup in Guatemala?
I'm saying having a role in the conflicts doesn't mean we're responsible for their situation 30 years later necessarily. I mean, because you can apply blame so far and so broad against so many different countries for so many different issues. It's hard to separate, you know.
Well, of course, there are diverse effect pattern, but if we led a coup that resulted in the government shifting and leading to what we have right now in that country, then I think we're quite to blame in that. Is
that Guatemala? I thought that was a different country there.
Well, there's a lot of countries that we have an effect in, but yeah, we the CIA conducted an operation in the 1950s that basically resulted in a coup in Guatemala. And has led to what we're seeing now, and you can't wholly base that on the U.S., but you can say that we had a big impact.
Okay, I think you're thinking of Nicaragua.
No, I think it's both, bruh. I think it's very much both. You can look at what we did. Like So we did an operation in Guatemala in the mid 1950s under Eisenhower, and basically removed their president from office. Basically, and again, you can also get into the minutia. Like we've done like propaganda campaigns against these sorts of leaders, and you can look at even more in the minutia of like what we've done in terms of obviously like I said, propaganda campaigns, but even just like cutting off funds from them, or like cutting funds even if we don't totally cut them off, and things like that. So yeah, the US definitely has influenced Guatemala, like to a large degree.
I get your point. Yeah, I guess you're right, but I don't know where we're going with this. I don't necessarily see how interference with the country's affairs makes the country responsible for every single citizen in that country for the indefinite future.
It of course doesn't make us 100% culpable for those sorts of things, but we have some sort of culpability. And so to have,
but for how long?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a decent question. Like I'm not saying like the argument you're making is totally invalid, but I would say for a long time. Like we clearly shifted the trajectory of that country for a long time. Like if you make one political misstep, you can obviously impact a country for a very significant period of time. So
from what I can tell, it's been about 60 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been since the 1950s, but I don't think that we took our hand out of there I don't think we made one move in the 1950s and then we stepped out for good. I think we've had a long-reaching arm like we do in a lot of countries. And so you need to take responsibility for those sorts of actions, and also if we would do things like I said, like destroy the drug war, then we would help to alleviate a lot of these pains that we're having right now, and we wouldn't have to deal with these people.
I accept your point. I think you're right about that. Well, let's get back to Europe though.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you still think it's wrong. You still think that basically Europe should end its kind of ethno-state policy, should end the notion of the nation state.
My thing is that I don't think in the current world that we live in there should be any ethno-states, because I think that you're just pushing a sort of like, especially in these like white countries, you're just pushing like a white nationalist policy.
The hardest ethno-states are Asian countries by far. Asian countries are the most crude ethno-states in the entire world, man. They commit genocide more than any other state. They're racist. They prevent people from getting citizenship that aren't like ethnic citizens, basically. The Asian countries, almost every single one, are the most racist ethno-states in the world. The Europeans are like,
I don't know if I would totally agree with that, but
give me a single country where you can get citizenship as an immigrant. An Asian country. Name one.
I'm not totally disagreeing with you. I
can name you like 5 off the top of my head European countries where any immigrant, once you've been there for 5 years, you can get citizenship. This is non-existent outside of Europe, man, and North America.
Oh, you can get. I mean, in the country that we live in right now, you can't get citizenship, but you can get essentially.
You can. You have to forfeit your old citizenship, which is
so it's not the exact same as citizenship, but it's very similar. Like we're in 2 years we'll both have essentially what is citizenship. Like we won't be able to vote.
It's not citizenship at all. All that is permanent residence. That doesn't give you any civil rights.
But it does give you civil rights. Like we already have civil rights when we come to Taiwan. There's an excessive amount of civil rights when you come to Taiwan. Your point is well taken. Like I'm not totally shitting on your point. Like I get what you're saying.
If you get caught drunk driving, what's going to happen to you with an APRC?
I know a number of people that have gotten caught drunk driving here and did not.
But maybe that's a bad example because foreigners like to bribe their way out of these things. Except for that case, basically, if you commit a major crime, you're going to get deported. Flat out.
In America, if an immigrant commits a major crime, do they not get deported?
Yeah, they're on a green card. Once they get citizenship, they're done, man. That's the thing. We're not eligible for citizenship.
But they get there are Taiwan is an interesting case, and it's not necessarily a fair case. So that's not the one I'm going to argue.
That's the case of every single fucking country in Asia. Japan.
No, because I think
Korea.
Taiwan is
China.
better for us. But I agree with you. This is the thing. We're not in a huge disagreement here.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
know.
But that's what I'm saying is that I would go as hard on the Asian states as I would anyone else. And I'd say if you want to live in the global economy of right now and the future, then you got to accept other people from other countries, or they don't have to treat you as well as they do right now.
What does one have to do with the other? That's what I'm trying to get.
I would say that, well, in addition to that, I would say that the Asian nations are more isolationist aside from China. A lot of them are very isolationist. Look at Korea, look at Taiwan. None of these people are involved in wars. They send funding to other countries because they want them to be their friends. But they don't do they don't do millions or billions or trillions of dollars worth of like weapons packages to other countries. They don't
Yeah, but they're
involve
poor.
they don't involve their troops in illegal wars like the US does.
Japan does.
Like
Japan has been involved in almost every single conflict we've had. First of all, most of those countries, Taiwan, Korea, well, until recently, they're relatively poor, basically, and they're not trying. They're also very small countries. They're not trying to get involved in international affairs deeply.
But they're not. That's
They
the thing is that they're not. They're not involving. They're not like controlling these other countries. These small countries that are easily manipulated.
But you're also talking about a couple countries that have existential threats that define their foreign policy. So they've got better, like.
So it's
North,
different.
South
It's
Korea.
different, and they have to protect themselves. They're more. That's what I'm saying. Is they're more isolationist. They're more
So
protectionist.
it's not a value thing. It's the situational thing. The United States has a huge fucking military and a huge budget that they spend on nonsense, so they can waste their money on different things.
But that's the thing is the U.S. Does it, and they're shitheads, and they act like act like assholes in the international community. So the U.S. is like the least defendable. And if we're gonna go back to European nations, they often back the U.S. and that's, again, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But do you want to create an ethno-state or do you not? And do you want to involve yourself in these sorts of international conflicts or do you not? And I think if you
my point
if you
is
do,
that
you're going to be
ethno-states aren't right or wrong. They're just a reality of the world, and they have been for hundreds of years.
Okay, again, that's fine, but you have to admit that. You have to say, okay, we want to create an ethno-state. We want to be a white
You're not creating an ethno-state. You're maintaining an ethno-state.
Okay, then maintain your ethno-state and say that we want to be a whites-only country, and then people can choose to go there or not. But you have to be upfront about it. You can't just be like, oh, we're like a very progressive nation, and then be a fucking ethno-state and have a bunch of fucking racists within your borders. If you want to be a fucking white nationalist organization and live in your own
Wait a
borders,
second. Would you? Okay. Do you think that maintaining an ethno-state is racist? Because I disagree with that in principle. I don't think
why?
Racism implies that you dislike or look down on another culture. Trying to maintain an ethno-state means that you're trying to preserve the ethnic makeup of a state to the exclusion of other ethnicities.
Yeah, which is to say that yours is superior because if you would bring in other people,
not necessarily superior, just whatever. It's something that you want to maintain.
Nah, I don't agree. If you think that other ethnicities are just as good as yours, then why not bring them in? Why not bring
Because that will
the
destroy
best and the
yours.
brightest? Go ahead.
Just because it doesn't matter. Why would you want the best and the brightest if you like yours? That's like saying you have a girlfriend, okay? You really like your girlfriend, but there's other girls everywhere. Why wouldn't you just have sex with all the girls in the world? Because they're all bright and pretty and stuff like that. Why wouldn't you just have stay with the girlfriend that you have? That's basically
Because a state is not just one. It's not just one. And if you want to go within your own state, that's what I'm saying. Is if you want to stay with your own state, then stay with your own state.
Yeah, but does that make it racist? If you, for using the same analogy, and maybe this is a really flawed analogy, but let's say the girlfriend analogy, okay? If you stay with your girlfriend, does that mean you hate other women? Or does that mean you just want to stay with your girlfriend?
No, of course not. But when you're talking about when Hillary Clinton makes this statement and says, "Oh, you're gonna look at these right wing governments," it's just exactly the same as Trump. They're de facto racist. They're denying other people entry into their country on racist reasons. If you want to make a principled argument against
Okay,
it, or you want to say
you're
that
making
you
a circular argument. You haven't explained why you think denying entry to people.
well, I'm saying it's racist, and you said that it wasn't racist. Is what I'm. That's
Well,
what I'm
saying it's not
arguing.
racist because they're not citizens of the country, so they're not entitled to move to the country.
Then you
Nobody's
shouldn't let
entitled.
Then you shouldn't let anyone in.
They're not letting anyone in. That's the point. Like it's not like France is like, oh yeah, let's accept all the Russians we can get, but people from Northern Africa, fuck them. They don't want anybody.
The U.S. certainly is, but okay. So
I agree with
okay,
you. No, I completely agree with you. The way that Trump has framed it too is completely racist. Where it's like, yeah, I want Norwegians, but I don't want people from quote unquote shithole countries. That's racist. That's clearly racist because it's favoring one country or another. That's not the same thing as isolationist, which is basically excluding all people, regardless.
Yeah,
of their,
but I mean, the thing is like you've argued against me, like against isolationism in the U.S., and that's fair. If you don't want to say that's racist, I could agree that like if you want to be,
I'm not saying
if
it's good or bad. I'm just saying it's not racist. I'm saying it's isolationist.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
would argue. I
necessarily
would argue in
racist.
some ways that the U.S. should be more isolationist, but I don't even know if like letting refuge. But that's the thing is like France hasn't been isolationist.
Okay. Yeah.
They've been involved in a number of wars, and the same thing with England. They haven't been isolationist. So if you want to argue for like a Norway, a Finland, these sorts of countries that like very rarely involve themselves in like international conflicts, and they want to say like we're gonna close our borders down and not let anyone in except for on tourism visas, then I guess that's okay with me. But if you're gonna involve yourself in foreign wars and things like that, then you definitely need to let people in because you're causing the instability in the world.
Okay, that's an interesting point.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a complicated issue, and I don't know. I definitely didn't prepare at all for this sort of debate, so maybe we come back to this at another time. So
Surprise!
to keep this going, what else is? And also, sorry to everyone listening to this. We're both like it's really late, and we kind of just did this impromptu because I'm going to Alisan tomorrow, and so in that case, Ari can't come to visit us, and I've been moving stuff because I have to move into a new apartment, and it's been kind of crazy. So we're kind of in flux right now. So neither of us has probably prepared for the podcast as much as we would like to, but we're still bringing you the hot takes. All right. So what else do you have in terms of news? I'll try to do some research on that. We can have further debate on this later.
Okay, well, I'll give you a list of interesting stuff that I've read in the last few days. Comey's been subpoenaed. That's one. Let's see. Apparently, there's been a lot of news that I've seen from Sputnik and other Russian news organizations about Xinjiang in China, and I don't know how accurate they are. According to one, I read that one Uyghur, like basically business person, was sentenced to death for going on an unsanctioned Hajj pilgrimage.
Wow.
What else? Let's see. There was a report that Trump ordered the Justice Department to open investigations on Comey and Hillary Clinton when Dowd was still in the White House. What is his name? Not Dowd. Ogan was still in the White House counsel position. Let's see. 2 people in Pakistan tried to storm the Chinese consulate and were shot dead.
Oh yeah, I heard
From
about
the
that.
Balochistan
Didn't they kill some
Independence
police
Movement.
too?
I don't think they killed anybody, but they were shot before they
I thought I heard
killed.
2 police were killed in that thing, but
I didn't
no.
see that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
The United States issued a warning against using Huawei to their allies. Let's see what else.
Good. Fuck Huawei.
Lots of stuff about Ginsburg still. Basically, the Bitcoin value has dropped below the profitable range in China.
Oh, how
so
how
lots
happy are you? How happy are you about that?
I feel vindicated. I waited until it dropped to 0. Most of them are selling their equipment at huge losses.
So anyone that knows Ari knows that he hates Bitcoin so much.
I don't hate Bitcoin. I don't hate Bitcoin. I think
Okay,
that
okay,
it was
sorry.
overvalued. I think that
Yeah.
it's a nice concept, but I don't think that it was worth anywhere near $11, $12, $15, $17,000 for a digital token.
Yeah, I would generally agree with you on that. I mean,
Because I actually work for my money. I think that money has stored value, and Bitcoin doesn't.
yeah, I would also say that like, oh man, yeah, that the Bitcoin thing was just so crazy. Like people were just
Crazy.
it was just so speculative.
Yeah, man. Well, it's a lot of people who didn't understand that shit. Everybody and their grandfather. Once it passed like 2000, like it was just like a craze, and everyone was like, "Oh, I got to get in on this fucking pyramid scheme now and make a little money before it collapses." And yeah, everyone who got in before it hit 20,000 and sold out made money, and anyone who didn't lost a shitload of fucking money once it crashed to where is it now? Around 4,500. Which is still outlandishly high. I'll buy Bitcoin once it goes back down to where I first saw it when I first learned about Bitcoin, about $40 fucking.
Okay, all right. So have you heard about this? Have you heard about the Iraqi dinar?
No.
Okay, so there's this big thing with like far right wing conservatives in America that are buying up the dinar because apparently they're like speculating off this thing that Trump said, that Trump basically said that like he's gonna even out all of like he's like why are the currencies like different values, like we should just make it all the same.
I'm not even gonna comment on that. Is that a real comment he made? You need to send me the quote because
okay,
if he actually said that just proves that he's mentally retarded.
Well, why
are the currencies different values? Let's see what else is in the news. Well, the Taiwanese elections are tomorrow. Oh, somebody pranked like Siri. You know Siri, the retarded fucking software from Apple, right? So if you ask Siri about how old Donald Trump is, instead of a picture of Donald Trump in the last couple of days, it has a picture of a flaccid penis.
What?
Yeah. It's like Donald Trump is, 97 years old and weighs 450 pounds. And then it just has a picture of this flaccid, hairy penis.
Wow.
'Cause somebody was...
Even if you have safe search
I
on?
guess it's Siri, so there's no safe search because children don't own iPhones. Because that's a fact.
I disagree with that.
Disagree all you want, Jordan.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Okay, here I got the facts on the dinar.
Okay.
In the old relating to the old Trump.
Huh?
Basically, so like all these like far right wing like conservative conspiracy theorists are like calling for him to like they're saying like here's one tweet from Betty J. Harris.
Betsy DeVos.
Mr.
Okay.
President, I know you're a businessman above all else. You can balance the American budget and save the American generation if you'll only stabilize the Iraqi dinar. That's how far off the edge these people have gone.
What the fuck? I don't know how he plans to stabilize the Iraqi dinar. That sounds like
And now they're saying like they have this like argument that's like they say RV. So basically it sends like revalue currency basically.
Should we buy some, Jordan?
Here's another one from Latrisa Rodriguez. Mr. Trump, Rodriguez. Mr. Trump, I really admire you. You have done a positive, period,
Your hands
political
are so
impact
big
on the American people in such a short time. Please help us RV, period, space. Give the credit you deserve, space, period. The people will, period. Know you helped us. Exclamation point, today.
Oh.
That's some good, one, good grammar, and two, wow, just wow.
Oh, okay.
But also, I don't know if you know about the Iraqi dinar, but that country's on fire right now, and they're
on fire. They're hot.
currencies. They're hot, man. Their currency has been like not doing good because like we're like basically bombing the shit out of them.
Well, what do you mean?
And also, regardless of anything that's happening there, like they're not doing well with their economy. Like their economy is not doing well.
Well, yeah, because who the fuck wants to invest in a country that's like had ISIS in the last 2 years?
That's exactly right. That's exactly.
Their name is in ISIS, Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. Like
Syria.
So yeah, big fucking surprise. Nobody wants to invest there. Ooh. Not to mention they didn't let the Kurds have their own state. That would have helped them, but no.
You're not wrong, man. I'm trying to find the quotes with about this, but I can't really find the exact quote from Trump, but
Nah, it's alright, man.
yeah, basically I was if anyone wants to like delve deeper in this, there's like a really good Chapo Trap House podcast about this, but yeah, basically the more or less the point is that like basically Trump supporters are like the biggest suckers in the world, and they'll just basically go for anything. So basically, he said, "I'm going to make it. Why isn't every country's legal tender equivalent?" And obviously, that's because if that was the case, why wouldn't we just have one world currency? There would be no monetary speculation or anything like that, and the money that they would have would basically be equal to everything else. But again, if that's what they wanted to do, then why wouldn't they just invest in like someplace like Kenya or something that has like basically no monetary value in their country, or Zimbabwe where they're like their $1 billion is worth like $1 in the US? Then that's what you would go for, and then if you made it all even, then you'd make like even more money. It just doesn't make any sense, is what I'm saying.
Fuck it, man. Alright, you want to end it here?
No, I don't. We haven't recorded enough. We haven't basically said
Been an hour.
That's nothing, man. We didn't say anything.
Wow, that's debatable.
I think we should at least talk about something. One other topic.
Okay, like what?
What are some other things? Okay, so what are your thoughts on? Well, I mean, Trump's daughter should be going to jail. Yeah, is that a no?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm okay with sending Trump's daughter to jail because a lot of Republicans will say, well, then Hillary Clinton has to go to jail too. But I'm okay with
lock her up.
Just lock them both up, man. Put them both in jail. That's cool with me.
Hey, why do you want Hillary Clinton to go to jail?
Well, she also used like an illegal server, you know. I mean, I don't really think that if neither of them went to jail, that's okay too. But neither of them should be in political office anymore.
Hillary Clinton's not in office though.
Good, then keep it that way. And also, she's been talking about doing a 2020 run. Like there have been like murmurs about her doing a 2020 run. And what I would say is,
yeah,
thanks, Hill.
You already know that's not going to happen.
Just
so don't worry about it.
No, I don't know that's not going to happen. Do you really think that's not going to happen?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen.
I don't know, man. I think she's so desperate that she'll run again. And honestly, I think that's okay. And the reason I think that that's okay is because there's going to be so many establishment candidates running that's okay. The more establishment candidates that run, they're just going to like basically screw themselves over. So, okay, that's fine. Just basically cannibalize your own people. Cool. Like, let's get rid of those corporate Dems and let's run someone progressive. But at the same time, like, it's just like, that's so sad. Like, it's so sad to see these types of corporatists running again. Like Joe Biden is okay, but like, why are you running, man?
I don't know, man. It's his last chance.
But he's lost. And the thing that really makes me mad is that you have people like Joe Biden running, and you'll look in like places like the New York Times, and they'll basically be like, they'll say like, oh, we don't think Bernie Sanders has like a good shot because he's too old, and Joe Biden is like a year younger. So, and then they'll put Joe Biden as like number one, and it's just like, how are you gonna put because they'll be like, oh, like this is not the time to run a white male candidate. And Bernie is too old. And so basically what you're saying is like the guy that like chained himself to a black woman and got himself arrested for the civil rights era in 1960 is too old, but the guy that's 1 year younger and like basically has been like a establishment dim his whole life, and every once in a while just like says he's gonna fight Trump, like fist fight Trump or like some other like Republican elected official is not too old. Like it's bullshit. Like, all right, let's run Bernie. He's the most popular elected official in the whole U.S. right now. So just run him and elect him, and then you deal with that when it comes. And I'm sure he won't be as good as some people want him to be, and he'll be a lot better than some people think he has the potential to be.
I think Bernie should run and win. I agree, but Biden, I don't know. We'll see. We got primaries coming up in a matter of days.
That's the thing, man. It's like we just had the midterms, and it's there's about to be another election. Like, Trump's already campaigning for that shit.
Yeah, exactly, man.
It's going to be coming up soon. It's going to be fun, man.
Well, that's debatable.
It will be interesting. Whether or not you think it's going to be fun, it will definitely be an interesting experience.
Something like that.
Well, who do you think who do you want to run?
Jeff Flake.
Is there anyone you're looking forward to besides Jeff Flake?
I'm just joking. I hope Beto O'Rourke doesn't run because he fucking lost. Like, you can't the people who don't get that if you lose a fucking race, it basically means that you fuck something up. Yeah, same with Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
Beto O'Rourke should just like quit while he's ahead. He lost. Like that's
what I would argue is that he closed like a huge gap.
Yeah, so he can.
And the same with
he can run again in like 4 years, but like a year and a half.
Agreed.
No, he can't do it.
I agree. I 100% agree. I 100% agree with you. And there's way too many people coming out in favor of him. But do you know who Richard Ojeda is?
No.
Okay, so Richard Ojeda is another candidate who recently. Richard Ojeda is another candidate who recently run. He ran in the midterms also, and he just came out basically and announced his run for presidential election, and so he was running in the 7th district in West Virginia. And he lost. He also lost, but he closed like a 30 or 40% gap, 30 or 40 not percent point. Like 30 or 40 point gap, and he was like expected basically to not get like any votes, and he almost like came very very close to winning, especially in that race. And so he's running now. He announced his presidential run for 2020, and it's similar to how I feel about O'Rourke. Is I think just take a few years off, you know, get another job. But Ojeda and O'Rourke, I think, are both like very compelling individuals, but they're also quite young. So what I would say is hone your skills, get elected at a lower position, work your way up, and just like let's see what happens with that. Because I love those guys. I would vote for both of them if they kept fighting and improved themselves over the long haul. Ojeda I have some problems with because he's not totally for Medicare for all, but he's like very progressive in a lot of ways. So I would say, all right, let's sit back, let's fight it out for a few more years and see where you come out with that. Right now, I think next election, progressives, if they're not Bernie Sanders or maybe one or two other candidates, sit back. Sanders. Man, who are you gonna vote for in 2020? Who do you want to run? That's what I'm saying.
Ghostbusters.
I mean, besides the Ghostbusters and Jeff Flake, who are you running for?
Drake.
That's okay. So that's the thing that I was gonna say. I literally am hoping and praying that the Democrats don't run a celebrity. Don't run Oprah. Don't run The Rock. I listened to some podcasts.
John Cena.
I've listened to a few podcasts, and people are legit like being like, man, if The Rock runs, I'm going to vote for him. And it's like, no, stop that shit. Stop. Don't, no.
Yes.
If the fucking Rock runs, no, he should get 0
John
votes. What are his
Cena.
policy oh my God. What are any of these people's policy positions? What is Oprah's policy position?
Who cares, man? They're
She's
famous.
a fucking TV host.
Don't be ridiculous.
That's my thing. It's exactly the same as running Trump. If the Democrats in 2020 elect a celebrity, then I'm done with the political thing in America. It's hopeless. America is a failed state, and they're gonna run themselves into the ground. If you run celebrities that have no serious ideals, like if you look at New York and you look at like Cynthia Nixon, she's a celebrity, but she had like good progressive ideas. Like she was running on like Medicare for all and things like that. If you can get The Rock to run on Medicare for all and a living wage and ending the fucking wars and things like that, then okay, maybe I'll vote for him. But other than that, if you just get him going like, oh, Trump, fuck you, you're a piece of shit, I'm gonna body slam you. And if you have them coming out and being like
so
Hillary Clinton and being and trying to be like progressive, or not even progressive. You just have them coming out and trying to be cool, and you have Hillary Clinton being like, "Everybody, I hope you Pokemon go to the polls." Then I'm not gonna vote
Oh
for you.
yeah, go Hillary.
Everyone, Pokemon go to the polls. No, if you're gonna come out with some garbage like that, like I won't vote for you. Like you're not gonna get people's votes. You're gonna get people staying home, and that's why people stayed home in the Rust Belt, and that's why she lost the Electoral Congress,
Well, Electoral College.
which shouldn't be a part of the. It shouldn't be part of the U.S. electoral system anyway. We should have a straight up Democratic vote, but it's the way it is right now, and she lost. So let's get some people who can get people out to vote, man. Like Bernie Sanders in every poll has showed that he outpolls Trump. Bernie Sanders would have beat Trump 100%, according to every poll, and he would still beat Trump. He would beat Trump today. So let's do it, man. Let's turn it out.
We'll find out.
We'll find out if they rigged the primaries in terms of the establishment Democrat again. That's what we'll figure
I'd be
out.
so sick if they rigged the primaries again for Hillary.
If they rig the primaries again, there's a potential that I may never vote again in the U.S. elections.
Jordan, are you not with her?
I'm not with her. She's got to. That's the thing is she's got to be with me, and if she's not with me, then she can fucking be with my butthole.
Whoa.
It's real talk, man.
Whoa, Jordan. It's very aggro. Well,
I'm super aggro.
Jordan,
right
why
now.
would you say that?
I'm fired up. Why would you say that?
humongous what?
Why would you say that? Humongous what?
What?
Humongous what?
What?
That's exactly right. But that's okay. On a more serious note,
Yeah.
that is what Hillary did basically the whole time. She was like, Bernie
She's like,
bros,
my name
Bernie
is
bros are the problem.
Humongous.
No, she did the
And Bernie's
opposite.
like,
She was
humongous
like,
what?
yeah, exactly. No. It's the opposite. She was like, Bernie said his name was humongous, and she was like, you know what I said?
Humongous what?
Humongous what? Humongous what? Bernie, you are a sexist. You are a sexist because you don't want a woman to be president, even though I'm a corporatist. Humongous what? It's absurd, man. It's absurd. And that's
Why would you say that?
rant time, bro. Like, that's the reason why corporatists lose, man, is because they play fake identity politics. They go, because you're,
Whoa. Everyone plays
you're not
identity
voting.
politics.
You're not voting.
Let's just be real here.
Yeah. All right, let's all get on board with identity politics.
No, I'm
Let's all
not.
give
No,
up
I
on the
agree with you.
American
Identity
state.
politics are not good, but I don't think it's only corporatists. I think the Republicans play it, the Democrats play it. I think Olivia Ocasio Cortez plays it. I think
Don't mispronounce her name.
I'm doing it on purpose.
Racist.
I know her name, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez.
You think she was trying to play some identity politics?
I can't see. I don't see how any person who runs in the United States does not play identity politics. Just to be real.
What I would say is
Humongous what?
if you're humongous what, and secondly, I think if you're running a real race and your policies are good, then I don't think you need to play identity politics. I don't think she played identity politics that much
Okay,
at
give me
all.
an example of somebody who didn't play.
I think she said that I'm going to represent the people and I have a perspective.
All I heard her
because
say was
I'm
humongous what?
a woman, and yeah. So if we're not gonna be serious about that, then that's fine. We can bullshit around this. But if you're gonna be serious about identity politics, then I don't think she played it that hard.
Let me think about whether I want to be serious.
I think the biggest identity politics players are corporate Democrats and super right wing Republicans who are like, they play identity politics in the other way, and they're just like, be scared of the Muslims, be scared of the brown people. Look at the brown people, they're going to rape your mother. Also, maybe we should do a pod on Jesse Peterson versus Kyle Kalinske, because I just watched an amazing debate versus those two, and I think it would also it would intrigue you and at the same time vex you to no end. And I think that would be fun. So we'll see if we watch that.
What do you think about it?
We'll feel it out. All right, you seem like you're pretty much done with this. I think you checked out. I think you tapped out like
I'm just tired.
15
man.
minutes ago.
I'm just tired. I was dancing so hard. I feel like I got a little cold.
And you gotta come stronger. We're trying to perform right now.
Well, I told you I was gonna not perform well. I warned you, did I not?
No, you did. Oh, it's okay.
Let's see.
All right. Let's cut this one. We'll cut it. We're done. All right. Everyone who's listening to this, we appreciate you listening.
Bye.
Yeah.
Oh, bye.
Bye for Mari. We were trying to do our best. You know, we are the best of the best. We do what we can.
We're both humongous.
But
we're humongous superstars.
we're humongous superstars. Ari is humongous for reasons that I won't talk about, but I'm humongous because recently I've gotten quite fat.
I'm getting a nice beer belly.
Nah, you're all right. You complain too much.
No, other people have told me too.
Man, Taiwanese people are way too like sensitive about this stuff. They're just like, oh, you put on like half a kilo, like, geez, you're
no, like
getting fat.
I like reached up to scratch my head, and one of my Taiwanese friends was like, "I see you got a beer belly there."
Nah,
your
friends are being way too serious.
Thanks, yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah.
The way you get back at them is you judge them for everything they do. Like my students were like being like this. One of them said like you're getting bigger or something today.
You're like,
And these
I'll
kids
kill
were
your
like-
mother.
I was like, your face is ugly as fuck. Now, one of them said something to me about it today, and I just made fun of their English, and they were just like, oh yeah, I guess I'm not perfect either. But anyway, all right,
Nobody's perfect. Except for us.
Nobody's perfect. Some of us are fat. Some of us English sucks. You know, it is what it is. But regardless of how good your English is or how fat your belly is, we love you all. And that's why we do this podcast. So we would appreciate it if you liked, subscribed on your favorite podcast app. But really, like, ratings help us a lot on the podcast apps, especially like iTunes. Things like that. Subscriptions help. Follow us on, what do we got? We got Instagram, we got Facebook, we got Twitter. All those things are at Free China Post. If you search us on the podcast apps, we're under Free China Pod. We got the Twitch. Our Twitch is Free China Post, all one word. And what did we stream last, Ari? We streamed Road Redemption?
Yeah.
Yeah, we streamed some Road Redemption. And, I just downloaded some horror games. So we'll probably... It won't be this weekend because I'm going to Alisan to go hike a mountain and take a bunch of film pictures. And so that will be cool. And I'll post those later.
If we're gonna meet on Sunday, man, bring the Polaroid.
Oh, hey, remind me either in like a few minutes or tomorrow morning.
I'll remind you tomorrow.
Remind me early because we're gonna leave like pretty early.
Okay. Oh, well then.
Do I need to bring the film? Did you get the film?
Yeah, the film is in the box in the fridge. You just pick a roll.
Okay, remind me to do all that because I'll forget every single second of that. But anyway, we won't be doing any sort of posting maybe in the next couple days, but we will be doing some sort of streaming, especially on Twitch, probably in the next week and a half or so. So please follow our Twitch, Free China Post, all one word, and let us know if you like that Twitch stuff because we have a lot of fun and you might catch us saying some crazy stuff that we wouldn't necessarily say on the podcast. But either way, like, rate, subscribe, let us know what you think. Even if you think that we are dog shit, cool, man, just let us know. We kind of want to know what you think. We got like 86 subscribers, so share your stuff so we can get like more than 86 followers on Facebook. That'd be pretty sick.
Let's get to 500.
All right. Yeah, let's make our goal 500 by next week, you know?
Good goal.
Man, real talk, if everyone on Facebook that follows us shared with like 5 people, we could probably get to like a couple hundred by tomorrow. But, like 3 people listen to this podcast. So, it is what it is.
You gotta cut out this.
Also, I gotta say, I'm gonna spend like 3 hours editing this podcast because of the
keep making those
ridiculousness
noises,
that we've been- I don't care. I'm probably gonna not edit most of my noises out.
I don't care, you guys. I like my fat noises.
I don't care. I want to have fun on this podcast. No, it's all for me. It's all for me. It's all for you. So we'll have fun. We'll do
Like
what
a
we're gonna
Barney
do on this
song.
podcast. If people like it, if they want to listen to it, cool. Thanks, guys. I love you. I really do. I love you so much.